Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Senor Nerd Podcast. On today's episode, we're going to talk about an anime that has been highly recommended to me for the longest. And apparently, the protagonist has a few things in common, a little bit more in common than I knew. If you know, you know. But today, right? Good looks for sure. But yeah, to join us in this conversation of One Punch Man and talk about how bald is bald, is our friends Raul.
Howdy, howdy.
We got Sylvia.
Hello.
And then replacing Mr. Carlos because she's awesome is Michelle.
Hi.
So, guys, we've been pretty excited to talk about this. Kind of sad that Carlos is not here because he's literally been one of the people that has been like on it for me to watch One Punch Man. After watching it, I finally understand not just hype, not just another anime that kind of follows these similar tropes as other things, but it was truly an experience for me. So I'm definitely really excited to talk about it. But then for that reason, we're here to discuss about it. So like typical fashion, let's talk a little bit about what your experience with One Punch Man is in general. Where you've seen it, if you watched the second season, anything you really want to say. Sylvia, you surprisingly, Carlos said that you had watched it already.
Yeah, I have.
And
Surprisingly.
Not that we distrusted your anime watching abilities, but to this point, we're still not quite sure, and so that solidifies the fact that you're on here, and I love it.
Yeah, I think he mentioned or he messaged me. He was just like, "Hey, just so you know, just so you have enough time." I think he let me know maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I surprised him saying, "Oh no, I've already watched this. Like, what do you mean? The first season, the year it came out?" I strictly remember being in the basement of one of my really good friends, and it was all of us like Polish kids together, I guess, and all of our family was upstairs like doing their thing or whatever they do, and we were just strictly watching One Punch Man, and we were so into it we started like reenacting some of the scenes with each other. So I surprisingly had watched it then, and then I rewatched it maybe like a year or two later, and then I rewatched it again now just to make sure I kind of had it in my headspace here. But yeah, I surprised Carlos a lot, and I think I surprised everybody watching that.
And question, like in your friends playing One Punch Man make believe, who was the one doing the punching?
It wasn't me.
It
was my really good friend Mike, and we have Mike and Matthew were the two that were mostly interacting. I was just kind of sitting back there like, okay, yeah, I was one of the only girls. I was the only girl kid, I guess, at that point. So I was just sitting back there watching the boys play, and I was just clapping my hands at that point.
Well, next time you join in there and you just...
I'm going. Yeah, I'm going first.
What about you, Ro?
Pretend they're mosquitoes.
Yeah, exactly. Bam. What about you, Raul?
So I watched it back when... during the pandemic is pretty much when I watched every anime that was on the watch anime list. And then, so I saw it back then, and it was probably the first anime that to me was like a comedy anime that I was actually laughing out loud, and I thought it was hilarious. And then I rewatched it with my son last year or months ago. I don't remember when, but like I rewatched it with him, and then I just rewatched the first season this week just for this. But
still, it's enjoyable.
Awesome. Yeah, it's still awesome. I love it. I love the animation and so many things about it, and it just there's really no other anime that's quite like it. There's some similar, but
I feel like such a kid for saying like, oh, the first time I watched it, but it's only been out since 2015 is when it came out, right? So not too long ago. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like 9 years ago. That's not terrible. It's not terrible. But Michelle, so before you tell us why, or just the experience of One Punch Man, like we really wanted to know. We've been trying to get you to record with us for obvious reasons. Being one of the main participators in our Discord channel with some awesome feedback, some good voice messages about some awesome games and just a bunch of stuff. And then really great at cosplaying. Just tell us a little bit about yourself and just kind of why you're the right person to be sitting in Carlos's spot. Tell us that you're better than Carlos.
Why I'm going to replace Carlos.
Yes.
Just kidding. So a little bit about me. I'm Michelle. I'm an anime enthusiast, cosplayer, which kind of involves like amateur prop builder, wig stylist. I also really enjoy video games. I play D&D as well. Recently got into that within the last year, so that's a lot of fun.
Nice.
And I
I'm
also
not alone anymore.
Oh, were you the only one here?
Yeah.
I did.
play, yeah.
I did a couple like sessions with him, and then life called, and I'm like, I can't like
Yes.
kill off my character. It's okay, throw him off.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so that's just kind of a little bit about me. I'm just a nerd, just like all of you. And apparently, I have a lot of thoughts and like to convince people to watch shows, play video games that I like, and then just kind of like share with everybody. So, Carlos thought that I would be a good fit.
Yeah, perfect. Well, glad to have you. But yeah, so then what's your experience with One Punch Man, and how do you like it?
Yeah, so I watched it. I used to watch anime back in high school, like back when it was like Toonami and you had to catch it at like 2 a.m. And I really had only watched like Sailor Moon and Inuyasha at that point. And I watched it back in 2018. And One Punch Man is actually the anime that got me back into anime as an adult. So I watched it because a friend of mine in college had written an article about like 25 anime that he was recommending at that point in time, and I was like, oh, that's like an interesting concept. And I had actually just had like my second child at that point, and I'm like, gives me something to watch, something to do, and I thought it was hilarious. Like, I hadn't seen anything like it. I think around that time was also when like all the Marvel and superhero stuff was happening too. So I was like, okay, this is cool. I like superheroes. And then when I watched it, I'm like, this is hilarious and unlike any other show. So I rewatched it a week ago, kind of leading up to this. But it was different this time because like I really like My Hero Academia. So I kind of watched it now having like that lens and seeing some similarities and things like that. So it was really cool like rewatching it with that like lens as well.
Isn't that funny? Because after watching One Punch Man, I've been watching Kaiju number 8. And literally to me it was like, wait, am I watching the same thing? Right? Because it's like you have your protagonist that kind of, it's kind of a little bit, not to say, not that I typical hero,
right.
little effort, not necessarily little effort, but just kind of gets dismissed. He's not in the spotlight. It's the anime is about him, but it's not about him. It's literally all the surrounding characters, and I just kind of kept on laughing. I'm like, this is, I mean, again, I hadn't watched it, but I'm like, Kaiju number 8 is so good, and now that I watch One Punch Man, I understand like why I love them both so much now, and it's funny the similarities. So. But yeah, I mean, I think what kind of makes the show good, and I think one of the things that, again, for me watching it for the first time ever, because again, I hadn't watched it before, I've been just procrastinating on it. Not just the fact because, again, someone being like, "Hey, Ramon, you should watch it because he's bald." It's not enough, right? Never enough reason, but at the same time, like I kind of knew the gist of it, where everybody who described it is like, it's literally a guy who like kills monsters with one punch, and I'm sitting here like, obviously there's more to the story. They wouldn't make an anime about just this OP guy who does this. And I think to my surprise when I actually started it was the discovery of his attitude was kind of what really did it for me. So I think watching it from the very beginning where, and again, you have some monsters that kind of resemble other monsters from different genres. I mean, different genres, different anime. But like that Piccolo character in the beginning, that blue Piccolo, like shows up, and then, here you have Saitama just freaking like one punch and kills them, and then I'm just like, what? Oh, really? It is just one punch. And then just his right away, like his unassuming attitude about just, oh, it wasn't fun, it wasn't exciting. Like to me, that was just like the best concept in the world, because there's nothing better than a hero who like wants to do more, wants to be better, and then just at the same time also doesn't feel like he's being challenged. So that was a great starting point for me. I don't know for you guys, what was one of the things that initially caught your attention?
No, and the big thing too with One Punch Man, that it kind of parallels so many different things, because obviously it's kind of like a Superman type of play, that like you have this super overpowered thing, or it's kind of like Goku, which is kind of like a similar thing. And then I completely forgot, and the big thing that I really liked about One Punch Man is once I started watching Mashal,
Yes.
It's pretty much Saitama if he was in the Harry Potter world. So if you like One Punch Man, you should watch Mashle.
Yes.
But it's same type of comedy. It's super like deadpan. It's hilarious, and I actually like the English dub version better than the sub. But yeah,
Oh yeah. Did you guys watch dub or sub? That's a whole other thing.
I did dubbed.
So for me, it's always both. So for me, it's always both, right? If you have something that's been around for a while, I'll definitely watch it in English, right? Like all the way. But then I still want to hear what the initial character in Japanese sounded like because you know, again, you have the fan base, and you know, some of you guys know better than me because again, or maybe like Sylvia, not so much like with me. Anime is so new to me as well. I started it also, like Raul said, more around the whole pandemic type of thing. That's when I really started binging a lot of things that were on my list. But other than that, I feel like sometimes like the fandom of anime are all about the Japanese, and I'm like, well, I don't want to discredit that either. But again, when you're sitting here and you want to watch a show and you want to enjoy the visuals in the animation, nothing's ever going to be English, which sucks. But I mean, I'm a visual guy. Like being an artist, like I love.
Gotta read very fast.
Yeah, you know, all my sometimes.
Your eyes do this.
But no, yeah. So it's always a little bit of both. It's like starting the beginning, just watching like maybe one episode, and then eventually going back. But things like Demon Slayer and all that are currently airing, no problem. I love sub, like just love listening to them. But you know, again, then I rewatch them again in English because why not?
I really think that it kind of depends because some animes have a lot better dubbed than other animes. For example, Attack on Titan has a really, really good dub. Because I've seen it in both. I saw subbed and dubbed. I started dubbed in the beginning, but then I ran out of dubbed. So then I started watching subbed.
Sub for Attack on Titan. I did not like the dub voice actor.
No,
really?
No, I didn't.
But it was really good.
I feel like I like it sub because like I feel like they really convey emotion a lot better. So with Demon Slayer, I like Tanjiro's like dub voice actor. I think he does like a pretty good job in conveying that emotion, but yeah,
it's tough.
Yeah,
I prefer sub.
Demon Slayer doesn't really make a difference for me. And either way, I'm gonna watch it subbed anyway because I have a problem reading, which is why I'm watching My Hero subbed and Demon Slayer, Kaiju no Murray. I'm watching it dubbed.
Yeah. The time I watch it dub is if I'm trying to like do things like I don't got a lot of time, so if I'm like trying to like I don't know wash dishes at night but I'm watching a show, it's like I can't be like reading and doing stuff. So
I totally get it though because like when we're talking about like real life shows, like live action shows, it's the same thing too.
Real life shows.
It's a real life show. Like if it's a show from Spain, a show from Germany, it's the same thing too. Like I love to watch it in that language because you're never going to get the same kind of like emotion out of the words.
It's more impactful for sure.
Definitely more impactful. I think with anime, for one of those reasons being that they're animated, sometimes it's kind of like, oh, I can do both, and you know you won't feel it. But again, Japanese, when you really hear it in that way, it's so impactful, and again, that's how it's written, so it just makes sense. So yeah, I know you're like your anime list is not maybe that crazy,
it's very
but like
small, yeah.
So what do you do with that?
So now I learned my lesson and I will only watch it subbed unless, like Michelle was saying, I'm doing something, I'm like washing dishes, I'm doing laundry, then I'll watch it dubbed. But I watched Naruto first, completely dubbed, and then I watched it subbed, and it was so much better with the subtitles instead of just with the dub of it, that now my lesson is learned and I will only listen to things when they're subbed. Or like watch it. The only time I ever do dub now is if I'm actually doing something. So this for me though, rewatching it though, I went half and half because I watched it before and then I was also doing some things. I was a little bit busy, so it was back and forth. I want to say like one episode I would watch sub, the other one I would watch dub, just to kind of keep it balanced. And I will say I kind of liked the subbed version better. It got more impactful.
100%. Like I hadn't heard Ate Bayo like for the longest. Like I kept on hearing it. I'm like, what is it? I know it's from Naruto, but I just couldn't. And then eventually, once I got past like the original Naruto, I went to Shippuden. I had to go back, and then I was like, oh, like I'm stupid because that's like literally my favorite anime now. But yeah, that's kind of funny. Anyways, back to One Punch Man. I don't know. We're talking about a show that, for example, like someone like me, like hadn't watched this one, and especially going into it and wanting to watch the second season right away, and people talking crap about the second season, I'm like, why not? And then again, focusing on the first season, it's like, oh my god, that's amazing. No, it was good, but the animation, right? That's literally what everyone could talk about. Like, what was that literally that big of a difference for, like, maybe you, Michelle, that watched it, Raul, like, in between the two seasons? Like, was it really that much of a difference that you're like, oh, second season just kind of sucks? Or was it more about the subject matter and what's actually going on in the story?
Yeah, for me, it was like the story. I'm trying to remember because I didn't think that the second season was terrible, or I guess maybe I didn't really pay attention much to the animation. At least to me, it wasn't that noticeable, but for this, in terms of the story and just progression and the characters, like, I enjoyed it. I could kind of see how, like, there were some moments where it felt a little bit like maybe a slower pace, I would say, in certain moments, but overall, like, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just rewatch it like after this, and then I'll let you
Yeah,
know.
no, for sure.
Yeah.
No, yeah, and I completely agree. I do think it was paced differently because in the first season it was a lot more packed into. Each episode was like a lot, and it was pretty much. It definitely could have gone slower, and it still would have been good. But they just packed a ton into the first season, and in the second season it kind of followed more of a story, like one storyline, and each episode kind of connected a little bit more. So each episode didn't have as much of a all-encompassing story as the first season, because you kind of had like full stories each episode with that. And then I also kind of wonder if people complain about the second season because of how it ended, because it was kind of abruptly. Because I remember when I was watching it with my son, it ended, and then it, like, some other anime showed up because I think we were watching it on Hulu, and then I was like, what? And then I tried to look around, like I thought there was more, but no, that was it. It just ended really weird.
I mean, that's the only thing I could have really thought about, like, why people were like, oh, second season not as good, is because clearly it's like a part one of part two, and now with the third season coming out, which is why obviously we're talking about this in general. Exactly, season 2, part 2. But no, yeah, I mean, essentially that's what it is, right? It left us on a cliffhanger. We're like, what the hell's going on now? And then now we're waiting for the third season to basically find out how that story develops. But, and for me, the reason why, like, season 1 was so impactful was just because, like you were saying, Raul and Michelle, like, the whole idea that it's like the story's more compressed, and then it ultimately just kind of walks you through a little bit of everything of the world that Saitama does live in. But to me, it's just, I don't know, I just love how it starts, and then right away, just the introduction of his attitude is it for me. Like, even when you find out, like, in this second episode, like, his first monster that he defeated before, or not defeated, the Crab Man, you know, like, he almost defeated him, but that's what convinced him to, like, want to be a superhero. Like, I don't know, how did you guys feel about, what was his name, Larry from SpongeBob?
It was Larry the Lobster. Yes, that's exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I thought it was so funny, because, like, right off the bat, right, we see him punch this one monster, and then he's, like, pissed off. Like, normally you would think as the hero, oh yeah, like, I defeated the villain, like, this is great, wonderful, and he's, like, mad, like, just super upset with it. And then his whole motivation, like, again, I like all the tropes that they, like, you know, you have those, like, standard, like, superhero tropes, and he was like, I just do this for fun. But, like, it's no longer fun for him. He's like, I just did it because I just wanted to. And then his whole backstory, it's not a story of, like, redemption or avenging someone. It's like, there was this Larry the Lobster that just appeared, and I was just kind of like, what the hell, you know? And he just decided he was going to do something to help people.
Dude, and the kid, the
Oh
kid
my
with the
God.
big shit. I'm like,
The kid was a little punk, though. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, but
his soccer ball, he didn't want to run away because of soccer ball.
I mean, well, first of all, he drew nipples on the crab. Like, what?
like, how dare he? How the disrespect?
I don't know what I was staring at the whole time that I didn't realize that was a thing. Like, I guess I'm just used to watching, like...
Yeah, when they mentioned it, I finally noticed what they were talking about. I'm like, oh, I thought that was just part of the design, honestly. Like, I didn't think... yeah. But I think I did read a fact that the guy, or I guess the kid that he did save, it was his grandfather that ended up creating the institute, like the Hero Institute. So he inadvertently... created the Hero... Yeah.
So that event basically cost the Hero like association.
Yes.
So
yeah, because in one of the episodes, they actually talk about how the Hero Association started because some rich benefactor's grandson was attacked by some whatever. Yeah, and then you if you pay attention, you can kind of connect the two of them. It was because of Saitama.
Yeah.
And then without
when he was unemployed,
when he had a hair and he wasn't a superhero, which you know I think that was one of the funniest things too, because like as far as I've seen imagery of like One Punch Man and Saitama, like never any clue that he technically went bald because of all his training, which was just because what was like the topping of the cake as to why, not because he's bald, but I just immediately loved that fact about it, that he went bald because he just trained really hard and like you can't beat it.
100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats. And and 10K run every day.
And you don't use AC or heat.
Yes. That sounds like fun.
The whole thing, and then you'll become Superman.
Yeah, you know, I only lasted 2 weeks in that regimen. I couldn't.
Did you try it? That was literally going to be my next question, because like a couple years ago, I remember there was a wave on social media of like guys that were doing like Saitama's like freaking regimen, and you know I knew what it was because obviously they listed it, but to me it obviously didn't make as much sense or have the impact that it does now. But I was wondering, I'm like, if any of you guys have tried it, and then how long did you go? But Michelle, you really did know. No, you're like, no.
But you know what? I am on my muscle mommy journey now, so actually. So I think I'm gonna try it, and it's okay if my hair falls out because, like I said, I'm a wig stylist too through classes.
There you
go. I'm good. I'm good
to me, it's one of those things where I heard his regimen, and I'm like, maybe like the 100 like throughout the day, maybe the 100 throughout the day, the 100, but not the run. I'm like, I'm good. Maybe that's why I have a beard, right? Not fully bald because I don't want to run. I'm like, it's good.
You didn't fully commit.
No, not fully commit. No, not at all. I mean, after watching it now, like I kind of thought about it. I'm like, logistically, like that would be an amazing workout. It'd be great, but that's insanity. And clearly, to me, and I don't know if any of you guys have read the manga or know even more about it, but we still don't know what Saitama's like true origin of his power is, right? Like that's another thing that I love about it. I just have no freaking clue. It's clearly not just
he
training,
told
right?
us he strength trained. That's all he did.
You believe that? Like, I
believe it.
Okay.
I believe it.
What about you, Raul?
But like, honestly, like it's not that much. Like I've done worse in the past. Like in basic training, I did way worse in back in the day, or even like in high school. Like I probably did worse. It wasn't every day that I did that amount, but it doesn't seem that should produce the results that he got. So
I went down a black hole
on Reddit.
On YouTube and on TikTok and a little bit on Reddit, but I did look up his workout regimen, and people were actually posting like what they look like days after they were doing it. And I think there was a guy that went up to like 60 days, and he was building a lot of muscle. Like once he's hit like 45 days, he started getting pretty like muscular. So, I mean, maybe it does work. You just got to do it. But I think I spent like a whole hour, 2 hours just looking at people doing it.
And then she's
I felt really weird. It was like 2 a.m. I was in bed. I'm like, this is really weird. I'm just watching men like working out right now. This is not right.
I mean, how many push-ups did you have to watch a guy do before you're like, they're the same push-ups? Everybody's doing the same push-ups.
I wanted to see the progression, because some people were like, oh, here's like a week or here's 2 weeks. And then other people were like, this is me day 1, day 2, day 3. Like they were doing daily progression. So I was like, oh, that's really interesting. But then it got to the point where I was like down the 5th video, and it was like 30 minutes long, and I'm 15 minutes in, and I'm thinking, oh, No, I have work tomorrow. I'm just watching this person do push-ups. This is wrong.
The real question is, did anybody go bald? Because that's where I call
You know what? So the guy that did it up to 60 days, he was bald from the start.
perfect.
So he looked like One Punch Man the moment he was on camera.
Just taking notes already, guys.
Yeah.
If you see me without a beard next time, even more bald than I already am, then you know why.
I mean, I,
No
I
eyebrows.
considered cosplaying as him for this podcast.
You-
I'm like,
you
is
know-
that too extra?
You
Like,
shaved your head that one time.
I did shave it in like, what was that, 2012? 2012?
I don't know. It was
2012 or
college times.
2013. I had just graduated. It was for charity.
there you go. That's
Oh.
awesome. That's awesome. I mean, I'm one of those that for this podcast, randomly, I'll try to wear like a color or something, or like lazily cosplay by just wearing colors and things that I resemble. For this one, I'll be like, it'd be too easy. I'm not shaving my beard. I'm good. Just good. Like everybody gets it. I'm bald. It's good. It's good.
If you invite me for another anime themed one, I will cosplay.
Oh, so now we gotta pick the perfect one. I mean, well,
Overlord. No.
well, I mean, again, there's a lot of stuff that it's out right
Yeah.
now. Like Kaiju number 8, I can't wait to talk about that. Like Demon Slayer as well is like airing right now, and then
My
obviously
Hero's airing right now.
Yeah.
which I still gotta catch up, and then third season of One Punch Man eventually coming out as well. So
Yes.
So,
possibility,
you're the Ranger.
I still gotta start that as well. But yeah.
I need to start making lists for all of these too, and that way I'll do my homework. So when Carlos messages me again, I'll be like, I watched all of these. I don't know what you're talking about.
I think we would equally be just amazed that you did.
Yeah. There's actually like a lot of pretty good anime that are currently airing, but I feel like we've kind of been spoiled with a lot of really good anime recently, because even last year we had the comeback of Bleach, and then we had Jujutsu Kaisen, which destroyed me, and then still some more My Hero, some more Demon Slayer, some more a bunch of other stuff. So it's been a good couple years of anime.
Especially for someone that's starting off new or just catching back up. 'Cause, like, and so that's one thing too, that for sure, if you want to kind of start watching some more, some of the ones like well, not My Hero, but Demon Slayer, things that only have a couple seasons and it's so easy to catch back up, those are like the fun ones. It's like those I caught up, I mean, obviously sooner, but it was just like they're easy to watch. Like One Punch Man, again, 2 seasons like this, didn't even think about it. My Hero's the only one that's taking me a while, but I think it's because, again, I've watched so many other things already. I'm like, I'll take my time with that one. Like, I'll catch you guys when the season's over, maybe. But I don't know. Definitely lots of good potential.
That's a big reason why it took me so long to start One Piece, because it's so long.
Long.
But yeah, I'm finally in the home stretch. I'm in about 1,040-ish. Finally.
And then there's that
I'm
crazy,
almost up to date. Yeah.
and then there's that craziness. Okay.
It's taken me like 3 years to get to this far.
Nope.
Yeah, I think I'm only on the 5th episode of One Piece, but I watched the live action and I loved
You're
it.
good.
So I tried
Take your
watching
time.
it, but I know that's gonna take a while. But remember, I watched it in 2 times speed, so a little faster.
It's about the journey, not the destination. Which honestly is like a theme that I like picked up on with One Punch Man with Saitama.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it is about the journey, not the
Truly is.
destination. Because once you're there, he's like, "Well, what's next?"
What's
now?
next? Right?
He's bored.
Yeah.
Now he has to wait
Now
for an
he's
alien
bored.
to come invade.
It's
I thought it was
crazy.
so funny though. It's kind of what you said though, Ramon. He's the protagonist and we see him as the main character, but everybody else is actually in the storyline.
So-
And then he always comes in late at the very end of the battle or the fight or whatever, and then he just punches them and it's done.
It's-
That's all it is. And everybody else is putting in all this effort, and he comes in, he's so bored, he does his thing, and then he just walks away.
I mean,
It's kind of like the Sea King, when like everyone is losing to them,
Yep.
because you have like these A rank heroes, these B rank heroes, and then then the Sea King arrives and he's destroying everyone, and even Genos, he's pretty much like almost like nothing,
Dead on
like,
the ground, yeah.
yeah, and then so you have like an S class and a few other like really high ranking, and then he just shows up and then he punches him once, and then all the people are start complaining about how, oh, he wasn't that strong anyway. He's a C class and he was able to beat him with one punch.
Oh,
He's a fake.
yeah, that little kid, man, that troll. I wanted to punch him so bad. I'm like, shut up.
Yeah, I know, and that's like one of like those like running things throughout the whole show. Like we know how amazing he is, and we are rooting for him. So is Genos, but like everybody else is like, oh no, this guy. Like when they thought that he was part of that cult of like,
guys.
name. Yes, like he's one of them, and he's just like, and actually he was mad. The reason his motivation to like defeat him or whatever was because he's like, well, I'm bald, like they're stealing my look, kind of.
Yeah, they're making me look bad.
They're making me look bad.
Yeah, I mean, and it's
all these copyright laws
in the sea of like heroes and things that we have, like, you know, let's talk about some. Like Genos, obviously, is probably one of the first ones that we meet. And when we're talking about like what's due to Saitama, but it's like Genos was ready to self-destruct before he freaking showed up, right? Like he was fighting the freaking mosquito queen or whatever her name was, and he's like struggling with her, doing all this, and he's just ready, like, well, I guess the only thing I can do is just self-destruct, and he's about to do it, and then, you know, Saitama shows up and boom. Oh, actually, no, that was the slap, right? That was the only time that he slapped someone in the whole show. He's a proper gentleman, so. I mean, sorry. No, this was. But yeah, no, but for real, that was the only person that he slapped. So there's something to be said about that. So how do you guys like Genos? Because clearly, to me, I was so surprised that you have one of the strongest heroes, because again, he's a cyborg. So all he needs is enhancements. He needs just like, you know, the technology in order to be stronger. But here he is. He's like Saitama's like #1 disciple, and he just wants to live he wants to live with Saitama. He wants to be part of it, like with him, and just be in that whole journey. But like, I don't. How do you guys like that character?
I like the role that he plays more than I necessarily like him. I think he's fine. He's I don't know. I don't think he's really that impressive, or he's really not that bad. But I think his role in the show is more important, because you kind of have someone that's pretty much like praises him, and reveres him, and I think that kind of shows you that yes, like nobody acknowledges him, but like there's a couple that do, and I don't know. I think it's a good spot for this type of role, in this type of show. But he's okay. Besides that,
yeah, I would agree with Raul. I really like the role because he gives that acknowledgement, right, to Saitama that nobody else does, and it kind of makes me think about like, so what makes a hero? Like, is it being really strong and just like fighting off the bad guys, or is it more like the public opinion and like that acknowledgement and all of that? So he definitely gives that to him because nobody else does. But I thought his character also, I like the dynamic between like the contrast you would see, like, so I thought he was kind of funny. I think back to, I think they're like they're having like dinner or something like that, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, Genos, because he got, I think, another one of those like top ranking heroes asked him like, can I speak with you, or
yeah, it was the masked guy,
the
A class #1.
Yes, sir. And then everyone fangirled over him and like wanted to touch his hand and all this, and Saitama, who we knew had just like, I don't know if it was like a fight, but you know, we know that he like basically killed the bad guy or whatever it was, but he's just like chopped liver right there. Like nobody is even like looking at him and all of that, and I feel like they would always set them up like that. Like when they got their letters too, Genos was like S rank, and then he's like, Master, I think you're, and I love that he calls him Master all the time. It's like, I think you are also like S class with me, and then it's like C.
It looks like a bigger letter.
Yeah. So they would do that a lot throughout the show. So I liked him, and I liked him for that pair and that reason, that contrast, like I said.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I thought he was super sweet. He's like Michelle was saying, just like a hype man for him. Anytime he feels down about himself, he immediately picks him right back up. But then to your point too, he's always so ready to self-destruct, and I don't know why. It's like that's his. He never wins a fight, and then he goes, "Well, this is my only option. Let me just self-destruct right now."
Extreme.
Yeah.
I think
Does anyone else like? Is anyone else super suspicious about the doctor that does all his modifications? Because I feel like there has to be something going on with him. Either he's the other like the other S-class hero that's like a robot or only sends drones out for everything.
You think so? Because I was gonna ask about that, because obviously that's the thing that for generals, like that's the thing that for me is just like, who is the guy that he's chasing? Because right, he's chasing the guy who like that killed his family, and then ultimately like I guess
his
like
town,
His whole town.
and
Standard superhero.
yeah, but I think it's what's his name, Metal Knight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's Metal Knight. I mean, that's just without knowing anything, because I just remember, I don't know if it was second season or what, but one of the other like S-class heroes was like, Metal Knight's not your like friend, or he's like your enemy.
It was in the first season. It was at the end of the first season. I think it was the old man, or no, it was the other like cyborg.
And that's, I mean, to me at least, that's something that's good about like him, because again, you have the one that's following, like you have him following like Saitama around, and to me, like again, you have Saitama who's not getting any of the acknowledgement, but then you have Daryl's who's getting all the acknowledgement. Like anything he does, it's like, oh my god, he's so cute, and oh my god, he's so amazing. And then you have this like at the same time you have this vendetta that he's clearly chasing, and all I keep thinking about is like, how's that going to look like when we get to it, whether it's like third season, fourth season, and you know, obviously this is the part where I'm always like, want to start reading the manga, or I want to start looking ahead, but I'll wait it out. But I think it's enough, it's compelling enough for me that I still like them. Cyborgs are interesting for me. Like I think cyborgs are just like strange, because like how much human is left in him other than his desire to get kind of avenge like his family. But I think the whole idea of like, you know, being destroyed to like almost nothing, like every other fight, like Sylvia said, and then just like
self-destruct.
Man cannot win, wants to self-destruct, but then he's still around, and I don't know. I love that he is kind of like the number one fanboy, and then ultimately because of him, you just start accumulating all these other disciples of Saitama, and it's, I don't know, like he's definitely a character that you need.
And that's also one of the things that I love about these types of animes is that like I love figuring out all the power systems, and then everyone's different powers and how they use them and all that stuff, because it's I have no idea how all these like animators and writers can be so creative and figure out so many different powers and different ways to implement them. Like before Jujutsu Kaisen, I could never imagine bloodbending being so cool. Besides what I saw in Avatar, but you kind of either get the or kind of like the Superman figure, but like just a completely different way of doing it, putting it together, and then you have like a guy with a bat. And he's one of the strongest people there, and then a martial artist, and then just a regular samurai, and then you kind of have like these weird combinations of people, but the way that they also put all the personalities together, and then you have this super stereotypical black guy that you don't even know how to react to it. That almost looks like a caricature of what like something that would have been drawn in the '60s here.
I mean, I think the one that's a little bit more controversial to me was what's his name, Puri Puri Prisoner.
Yeah.
Like hilarious to me.
I had forgotten about him until I rewatched it.
Yeah, me
like,
too.
oh, what?
Yeah, the chin, and then you just...
Yeah.
I think for once, it's
And
being
his
a guy. I think for once, being a guy, I was like finally terrified of a character, because I'm like, oh man, especially the fact that he escaped prison to like get his boyfriends, or his so-called pronounced boyfriends. Like, that was hilarious to me. But and then his ability when he gets stronger and powers up, butt naked,
Angel mode, just completely naked.
I don't know, man. There's something to be said about someone that can fight butt naked and not have to worry about what happens to his body. So
But it's also scary because he's so strong that
yeah.
that he could do whatever he wants with you.
Yeah.
You know who I really liked, and he's not one of the top heroes, but I like the whole. Maybe it's just because this is the type of like hero that I like. Like thinking about like Deku type characters, and but Newman Rider.
Yeah, I love Newman Rider.
Because we know he is not strong, and
He's just a regular guy on a bike.
He's just a regular guy on the bike, but he is determined, and he will just give it his all. He will never give up. I love this scene where, he's just like pedaling, and he's trying to get to like the safety zone where everybody's just kind of like the shelter where everybody's hiding from the Sea King, and he's like trying to figure out where it is, and he figures out that he went like the opposite way, and he's like, oh, now I gotta make it over there. Then actually confronts the Sea King, and like everyone's hyping him up, like he's getting his butt kicked, but everyone's like, we believe in you and everything, and he has his whole like hero moment, like his little just like monologue there. And like if it was any other show, this is the part where like they persevere, they do it, they manage.
They power up, Super Saiyan or something.
Yes, and here he was just squashed, and everyone was like, oh, like so disappointed, but it was so funny.
I know.
He's one of those that's like the most interesting to me because I've seen him. Like I play a lot of Overwatch, and they did a One Punch Man collaboration, and Woman Rider was one of those that was really. Yes, it was. It was Soldier 76 if you ever played Overwatch, but it's like it's funny too.
Did he have a bike?
No bike, but I mean, but that was the thing too. I'm like, who is this guy? This guy has to be strong enough to make it into a skin in a video game, right? And then I start watching it, and I'm like, yo, like really, what is this deal? And again, going through the second season, I am still waiting. But Michelle, you're right. Like you love him for that reason because to this point, you still don't see what. And isn't he like ranked 1 in Class C? Like he's ranked 1 in Class C, isn't he?
I think.
Yeah, he's number 1.
Yes,
Yeah.
Saitama passed him up. Well, it's because his go get it attitude. But yeah, like he probably rides around and he's faster than most because he has a bike. So he just solves a ton of crimes.
Very strong cab.
He has one ability listed, and it's his will.
There you go. Yes. There you go.
If you had a Green Lantern ring, he'd be stronger.
There you go.
And what's this move that he does with his bike? Is it like Bike of Justice or like Cycle? He
only did it the one time against the
He literally just grabs his bikes and throws it at them. Like, I mean, but that's again why this show's good. And I love that there is at least one more character that it's like again you don't find them. But I mean, there's a lot of characters that you also don't find as impressive. Like I feel the whole TikTok crew, except for the S-tiered one. Except for the S-tiered one. Everyone else, I'm just like, what are you guys about? And I think that's what I've been enjoying. But I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the fact that there is all these people who are aspiring to be heroes, and some people don't have much. They just have like the will to be a superhero, or they just like find themselves like they put on a costume and they're like, let's get it. Like let's go out there and do it. And that's literally it. You wear a tank top and superhero. Let's go.
Yeah.
Another anime that's similar in that part of it because it also has heroes is Tiger and Bunny. It's not as good as My Hero or One Punch Man. It's just different. It feels a little bit more old school. But I liked it. But yeah, it has heroes and they're like on TV. But it's same concept. And they gotta brand themselves and get sponsors and all that stuff. It's kind of like a little bit more My Boys, or not My Boys, the boys. But yeah, it's another superhero anime that they do it for a living kind of thing.
And I mean, I guess that's something that's still new to me because Michelle, you mentioned My Hero Academia earlier, and you're right, like 100%. Like just anytime you throw in like people still kind of learning to be more of a superhero, like you have rankings and you have, well, I mean, obviously you see a lot of similar designs as well, but like I don't know, to me, I'm still not used to that type of anime in the sense I've watched it and I'm just like, oh, it's the same trope of you have like your classmates and you have your like training mates and there's a hierarchy and you have to like get to a certain level and that's only because there's a structure there that the Hero Association made. But it does add for the comedy. It does like create like that atmosphere of like rivalry, and obviously if you're number one, like the one pretty face guy, like he wants to be at that one level because he doesn't want to let anyone else get above him. And like I love that part of it because it is something cool to like the boys, like you were mentioning, Raul, like the idea that it is not necessarily corporate, but it's the idea of there is some sort of structure, and then people control part of that structure just based on like what ranking you are and all that good stuff. But I don't know.
Well, yeah, in the second season, you do see that. You see like the people that donate to the thing kind of do get more influence, which is why they get like S-class heroes protecting them or as bodyguards when everything kind of goes to shit. So that's kind of more like the boys where you see like money and power influencing the hero behavior.
Oh, that's right, because in that one they're trying to get like some of the bad guys and villains to join the Hero Association because they need the help and all that. But yeah.
And then go
Sylvia, what about you? What's one of your favorite characters or people that you just randomly saw that you're like, that guy's cool?
I'm gonna be just basic on this one. I liked our OG man, Gino. He's I don't know why. I like I think it's because that's how I am in life too. I'm kind of just like, all right, well, you know what? Let me just go ahead and like, I'm done. Like I'm leaving right now. I'm over it. And that's like him with his self-destruction, just like like I'm done. We're over it. But Ro, I did want to go back to your point with the doctor. I do think he's sus.
All right.
Cuz I don't fully remember the second season. It's like a vague past hazy memory for me, but he's a cyborg and I feel like maybe he's watching our protagonist here. He's watching him. He's trying to see what his weaknesses are, and then he's gonna take our second boy. He's gonna, get him all set up, and he's gonna go against him because you technically can. He is part robot. So for me, he's kind of suspicious. I haven't taken him off my list. I was right then, right?
If you heard the interruption, Sylvia was talking about the cyborg doctor, and clearly he hears us. Yup.
Poor Genos.
Yep. He's gonna get it in return. He's like, these people, man.
Now if something happens to him in season 3, it's my fault. I started this whole issue.
And remember, if everything fails, just self-destruct.
Yeah. Another thing too that was not surprising to me, but it's just something that I don't necessarily love in anime, is monsters. I'm always not the craziest about some of these monsters in this realm, and it's the same thing when we were watching Solo Leveling. You get those monsters that for me resemble the 80s and 90s like little muscular action figures of like these like lions and animals like they're like half human, half like things, but you just enjoy the fact that Saitama, animals. You can't help but to enjoy like the heroes kicking butt, right? But I think that was something too that as I was watching the first season, I just couldn't believe the fact that there was like groups of monsters. So like you had like the bottom dwellers, then you have like the even deeper, the mole men, then you had like the freaking people from the sky that lasted like a second, and then ultimately ended with the sea creatures, and that was kind of nice too because that the Sea King was one of the most formidable ones, at least fight-wise. Like he was pretty impactful. But what I didn't expect was aliens, like alien monsters. Like what the heck?
Of course, though, because I feel like the show just like pulls on all of like those common superhero tropes. Like the Avengers, they fought aliens.
Yeah,
of course we're gonna see aliens here.
And it makes sense too. What surprised me, and the reason why it surprised me, is because before you had the aliens, you had the introduction of a fortune teller that died, and I'm like, wait, there's a fortune teller too, and she's saying the world's about to end, and then the very same day, as they're prepping for like months later, aliens. It's like, what? But clearly that was like the big part of the season. That was like the big highlight of you see a lot of the other heroes like really displaying their abilities. Saitama doing his thing is just being him. But I don't know, like how impactful was that to you guys?
I thought it was cool in the sense that it's a good contrast. It's kind of like the Sea King that you see like how much all these people struggle. Like these are the strongest people like in this world or whatever, and they're struggling so hard to fight against there's like multiple head monster and then all these other like people on the ship and all that stuff, and then Saitama's just going around putting holes in the spaceship, and then finally he finds the main guy, the king guy, and then he just starts fighting him, and kind of like destroys everything, but nobody really knows except for Genos knows that it was him, but nobody else like even suspects it could have been him.
And what's her name? Tornado. Just another one too that I love the fact that she's kind of getting angry because she's also someone who's like full of it by her own right. Like she's fucking awesome. She's really strong. And isn't she older than her sister?
I think she's younger.
Is she younger?
I think she's older.
I thought she was older.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
she's small though.
Yeah. She acts younger.
I mean, definitely
she's a little bratty.
A little bratty for sure. But she was one that during that fight I was really impressed by because then she really displayed her power and putting everyone else to shame and also making them feel terrible. She's like, if you guys can't hang, if you can't do anything, get out of my way. But I do love when she ultimately kind of noticed that Saitama was the only one that walked out of that ship, and she's like, "What? Like, what were you doing here? Like, what are you doing? Do you guys like her at all?"
Yeah, I like her. So just thinking about it solely from first season, I was like, she's kind of bratty, but I kind of like the attitude though. I like it, and I have a tendency to like superheroes that have more like psychic type abilities, anyways. So, so I liked her. Yes, because I always say, oh, if I was a superhero, that's the kind of powers I would have.
That could make for some really strong stuff. Clearly, she does all kinds of crazy stuff with it too. But
she's pretty strong, so
yeah, there you go.
Well, she's S-class for a reason.
Yep.
She's only ranked second though, right? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I don't remember the numbers, but she was up there. I think she's who's number one?
Blast, who I haven't met. I have no clue what he's about, except for the fact that I guess in the second season he's the one that had somewhat cracked the shell of the one giant centipede.
Oh yeah.
And that was enough to antagonize him when they're having that final fight. But other than that, he was MIA for the meeting, and people have mentioned him a couple times. And I guess everything, right? Because we never did see him in Metal Knights, sorta, because he's really just not there.
And then there's King. Honestly, like I think King is like I love the whole concept of King because like he's the strongest human, but it's all he's Buggy from One Piece. Yeah, he fails up.
That was a good surprise in second season because that's literally how they start that season right away. It's like telling you his real powers are non-existent, and you're just like, what?
Like being at the right or wrong place at the right or wrong time.
Yeah. I think like that's another character. Like, I mean, again, especially second season focuses more on the whole idea of like Saitama having a following, and I love that again just because in any good anime and good story, like I don't know, you just can't do things alone. I mean, maybe he can with his punches, but you need that like backup, that support, and all that like
teamwork.
The teamwork. And I don't know, King's pretty good because at least he'll challenge him in video games and beat him that way. So
that's so funny.
I will say at the end when he had punched him and the armor like kept him together, I did gasp a little bit. I was kind of like, oh, it didn't get him after that one punch. I thought at first it was just like, oh, okay, it's going to be like any other battle. He's just going to punch him. It's going to be done. And then it didn't. And then I just went, ooh. And then he goes into the moon and he still somehow survives that.
Yeah,
that
was cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that alien is the first one that he's punched more than once. That he's been able to do that, which is like just blows your mind because that kind of shows you how strong that alien was.
What didn't he say that was
really happy for him too?
I know.
Didn't he say that was like the first person he truly first monster he truly punched? Because I think with everyone else he had said that he hadn't put like any real effort into it. I mean I did enjoy that fight. I think I enjoyed just the dynamic of both of them together because this alien, and again I'm spacing out his name right now, but it's like it was the same idea of like he's bored, he's traveling the universe trying to look for like competition, someone that can actually put up a fight, and obviously he found it in him. But I mean, this is kind of like clearly where the animation shines because what I saw in that fight in general, I didn't see anything like it in the second season. So in that I agree because that was like a spectacle visuals and but no, I don't know, again, the whole aliens thing's always fun to throw in there, but defeat the aliens, they're gone, and now you deal with more human stuff and more superhero stuff. But what other things about it? I mean, like what do you guys hope to see? I mean, perhaps maybe in the third season or in general, and I guess don't even know if you guys know more about the One Punch Man story, but Carlos is not here to be like, well, I read the manga and I can tell you this, and that, and we're like, damn it.
I don't believe in manga. No.
Yeah.
Except for the one manhwa I've read. Solo
You
Leveling.
loved it
Yeah.
that much?
Oh,
Dude, I
right.
did.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have not, but I really enjoy the show.
Yeah, like I had to read it. Like I was hooked.
Yeah.
I got way too impatient, and I just ended up reading it, and it was pretty awesome.
Was it worth it?
Yeah, but now I gotta wait till the show to come
See
out,
it
and
animated.
then yeah, no, because you know what, like, with that the anime, they actually change a few things, but I like the changes that they make in the anime because I think it
Interesting.
makes it better in a few ways.
One Punch Man, though, I've never read the manga. I don't think I'm actually spoiled, so I don't quite know what to expect in season 3. I hope he finds like someone who can put up a decent fight with him, because I think that's the one thing that like I feel for him so
Yeah.
much. It feels terrible. It reminds me of like when I was a kid and you play Pokemon and like your starter is like so powered up that like after a few times that you beat the Elite Four, it's like
Yep.
the
easy.
game isn't as like fun as it was at the beginning anymore. Like you're like Saitama basically in the world of Pokemon, and I was like, man, I can't play this anymore because now I'm just kind of like bored. So yeah, in that way I relate to him. I wish it could be the punching, but in that way I relate, and I'm like,
Yeah.
man, I hope that he finds somebody that he could actually just feel something, because he's just so like dead inside.
I could see them like in either third season or in upcoming season. I could see them like just cloning him, and then that's what he ends up fighting.
Himself.
Yes.
Wow.
See,
It could be the scientist.
yeah.
The
Maybe
The
it's not-
doctor. See? It'll be the doctor.
maybe what's his name? Sonic finally gets strong enough to like. Be,
Oh yeah, I forgot
Supersonic,
about
whatever.
It's like
Super
no
speed
speed.
Sonic or something.
Yeah, like speed of
Yeah.
no
Speed
of
of
like
sound
Sonic.
Sonic.
Speed of
Speed of
Sound
Sound
Sonic.
Sonic.
Speed of Sound Sonic.
Which that guy was goofy because reminded
I
me of a
loved him.
reminded me of a Sasuke type, just a
Sasuke.
little emo, little kind of
Yes.
in there just to prove his old, and then right away. I mean, the first initial like fight, I think it was when Saitama like accidentally, well not accidentally, but just both his
Yeah,
fists
how-
up.
Yes.
And then after that, it was over. This guy's like, me and you are now like enemies
Mortal
forever.
enemies.
Like, yeah, mortal enemies. And it's just like, but I mean, I think that's always a fun character to have, right? Like the guy who thinks he's gonna beat him. And I think for like Demon Slayer, you have Inosuke, who like at the end of it all, like he's still competing with Tanjiro, right? Like he's still like, I'm gonna be better than you. And we get it so much, and I think it's fun. And even though like I think that Sonic is considered a villain or I guess a bad guy. Like I think he's still kind of a joke, so therefore he's kind of just funny to have around and have him show up late to the fight after he comes back into the Sea King, and Sea King's already gone, and I don't know.
I came back with my weapons.
Yeah. Well, I did like the Saitama kind of learn from him a little bit when like
Yeah.
Speed of Sonic is doing his little like clone jutsu and he's kind of going back and forth, and then he's like, fine, it's just gonna go back and forth. And I'm just like, damn, you just really can't be Saitama. Like once he starts learning, like he's just just imagine if he actually tried like more, like outside of just his normal training.
Dude, you still gotta watch Mashal because that's pretty much what Mash does in that show. Like he flies on the broom by kicking his feet so fast that he's like
That he's levitating.
yeah, like levitating.
Yeah.
So people
Putting
think
his stuff
yeah. So
around.
they're playing Quidditch and
Yeah.
he's like floating on his broom because he's
As his feet are
kicking so
like this.
fast. Yeah.
Oh.
So legit. Mashal is Saitama in the Harry Potter world.
Oh yes.
It's hilarious. You
You
should watch it.
slowly, I don't know when I'm gonna hit that, but it's just like it's still on there, and because we share
Do it. Do
Crunchyroll
it.
accounts, it's like it's
Do it.
on there. I know.
Do it.
I'll get to it.
Do it.
Do it.
Peer pressure. Peer pressure.
So,
I
yeah,
know.
you watch it, and then you can also join in on telling Ramon to do it.
Okay, that'll be my first one I watch, just so I can do that.
See, and then I would truly have to watch it because if Sylvia's gonna watch it, I'm like, damn, like now I have to, like,
We'll bully you to watch it.
yeah.
Awesome opening song too.
Yes.
Amazing opening
I
song.
love it. It's on my gym playlist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean that's been whatchamacallit, Kaiju number 8 for me right now. I've been enjoying
I know.
all the songs.
Yes.
all of these
Wow.
openings are going crazy. I think in the last 2 years, like some of the best anime openings have come out.
I think they've gotten it. They've gotten the fact that people do care about the intros, the outros, and just putting in like, again, Kaiju number 8. I only bring it up because you have like Youngblood, who's like a British like singer, and this is the whole idea of like you're taking someone that's popular to do your intro song. Now you kind of stepped it up because then you have people who are like outside of the anime community being like, okay, so what is going on? Why do we have someone actually?
One Republic doing the outro.
Oh yeah, it is One Republic. I forget about that too.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things that I just focus on that intro. Intro's amazing, and I think just the overall music for that is pretty good too. So things
You
that
guys
you
are
have.
gonna hate me. I listen to the intro one time and then I skip it all the other times that I watch the episodes.
That's okay.
Depends. It depends on how good it is. It's kind of like if you ever watch a Cowboy Bebop, you gotta watch the intro. If you ever watch like Kaiju number 8, you gotta watch
Kaiju number 8.
intro. If you ever watch Mashle, especially this last season, you gotta watch the intro.
Yeah.
There's a few Fire Force, the first opening. You gotta watch that.
Carlos and Raul, they were like, listen to Fire Force, listen to the intro, and I'm just like, damn, calm down. But like,
No, for him it was the outro.
the outro, that's
yeah,
right.
yeah. To me, it was the intro because
Got it.
that's one of my favorite intros of any anime.
I feel
But
like I'm
I have a
still
whole
gonna skip
playlist
through
that's
them.
like intros and outros.
I mean, there's a list like Naruto because it was the one that I watched. That again, 720
had a lot of good
episodes.
ones.
Yeah, a lot of good ones. Not just
Iconic.
yeah, and not just the music, but sometimes the animation behind it.
Oh, yeah.
there's some
Yes.
But
animation.
remember though,
intros.
2 times speed for me.
So you're listening to
the
Alvin.
Chipmunks.
The Chipmunks, yes, Alvin and the
Those are not
Chipmunks.
the Chipmunks, yeah.
Alvin and the Chipmunks do Bluebird. Yep.
I can't even imagine doing 2 times speed because I do podcasts at like 1.5, maybe 1.6, but I can't even imagine doing 2 times or watching anything at 2 times speed.
You know, you just kind of accept the knowledge and then you get better in life. I feel like now I'm better at multitasking too.
So
You get better at life.
Because it's subtitles as well. With this one, I did subtitles, so I was reading really fast as everything was going on.
My ADHD won't let me read it that fast.
Michelle, it's funny because we were talking with Sylvia one time, and we're talking about all these movies and things and like these longer shows, and she's watching freaking Game of Thrones right now, which we haven't touched on that subject yet. But as we close out for the night, well, we can bring it up again. But like, yeah, Game of Thrones, and she's like, yeah, watch everything in 1.5 speed, and I'm just like, what? Like, and it's not that it's far fetched. It's just the idea of like, you know, when I watch like long TikToks, I'm like, quick, go! I don't want to sit
speed,
here.
yeah.
2 times speed. Like, but I just still can't imagine doing that. For
If you
someone.
hold the screen on the right side, it speeds it up.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying, but I don't think I could do that for like Game of Thrones. So it's like I don't know.
I think with
I
some
don't know.
shows, it'd be hard to.
Yeah.
I can
I've never
rewatch
watched
it
Game
that
of Thrones,
fast, but I don't
but-
know if I could do the original watching that fast.
I'm just trying to save time and watch as much as I can,
I
you
get
know?
it.
Try to be efficient
Yeah,
here.
I think it
Yeah.
came up when I was watching Bridgerton though, because I remember
Oh,
it was
yeah.
all in 1.5 speed, and then they were talking really fast to where I actually had to go back and I had to listen to it like in normal speed, and they were still talking really fast. And that's when I had brought it up, and you guys were like, "We need you to pause
Wait, what?
for a quick second and go
I've
back."
only done that one time with one show on Netflix because I was trying to binge it and I was trying to like watch it during my lunch period.
Yeah.
You
So I
have to,
was like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
I watched it in like 1.5 speed,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think I could do that again. it was interesting.
Not on the
It was
daily.
interesting. No, and definitely not with anime either.
I mean
I can't read
get,
it that fast.
Well, I get the intimidation with like Game of Thrones because that's a show that's like again hefty. It's just like full of stuff, but it's just like man, outside of that, yeah. I feel like some
Yeah,
of
and
the
all the
anime.
houses and all the families and
but, like,
all the
that's
politics.
That's the one show everyone's like, watch it. Watch
Oh, you
it. I'm
haven't
like,
watched it?
no.
Oh, so then perfect time. Sylvia, how are you doing in Game of Thrones? She's just started watching it, and we know we're going along for the ride because at least we watched it and we're nerd out a little bit about it.
You're gonna hate me. I haven't watched it this
Quit.
week. No, I
don't
didn't
mind.
quit. I still want to
Okay.
watch it, and I am still going to. I just got on watching Revenge for whatever reason. It's because I went on Hulu and I was watching One Punch Man, and then I saw Revenge pop up, and then I started watching that. Which it's just a show where they're these elite people, but they used her father as a scapegoat essentially. So now she's back at the Hamptons, and now she's trying
Is
to
it
like
the black
ruin
girl?
their life. Yes. Yes.
Okay, yeah. I saw like when it was coming out, but I never watched it.
Yeah, so I got really into that, and then on top of that, and then One Punch Man, I just didn't have time for Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
That makes
So when I started watching Your Honor on Netflix from with Bryan Cranston, too.
Oh, any good?
Oh yeah, it's good. It's somewhere in between Breaking Bad, like the character, but like he's more good than Walter White was. He has more morals, and he's doing the wrong things for the right reasons, but the more right reasons than before. No, but it's good. It's pretty good, and everyone around it. I still think Breaking Bad's better, but it's probably one of the best shows ever made. But
I want you to write down what you said and then reread it to us on the summary of what it is.
That makes sense to me.
So, Your Honor is a show where Bryan Cranston is a judge, and then his son accidentally kills the son of a like mob family. They're super brutal, and he convinces them to like turn himself in, and they go to the police station to do it, and then he sees the mob guy, and he realizes, oh, it was his son. So then he turns around, because if he does it, he knows that the mob guy is gonna kill his son. So then he kind of tries to cover it up and all that stuff, and then it kind of keeps escalating and getting bigger and worse. So I'm like 6 episodes in, and it's becoming more Breaking Bad, but it's pretty good, and the son's pretty good, and there's a lot of good supporting acts, and you're kind of trying to figure out like what's he gonna do next, like what's he gonna have to do next.
Yeah.
So
I'm surprised they haven't started watching The Boys yet.
Well, it came out today.
Well, I'm surprised you haven't started watching.
I know.
The Boys.
Well, I haven't started. I haven't been able to start yet because I didn't have enough time to watch it earlier.
Yeah.
And then now I'm here.
Well, I'm glad you're here and not watching The Boys. I guess I lied.
I mean, I can.
He'll have it on the side as he's talking to us.
Yeah.
I'll watch it after this.
There you go. He's watching on this side. I believe. Michelle, like, what do you typically watch aside from anime? Like, right now, are you watching anything currently, like long shows or any movies? Just because we always just love
With actual people. Honestly, I have been just really watching anime.
There you go. What are you currently watching?
What are you watching?
Oh, I'm watching quite a lot of shows. My husband's always like, how do you balance like between watching all these different things? So Kaiju number 8 is one that I've been watching. Obviously Demon Slayer, kind of watch it all together as a family. I'm watching Death Note, actually.
First time or rewatch?
First time, actually. I'm hooked. I got hooked after the first episode. So I'm cosplaying a character from there for Anime Magic in end of August. And I was
which
like,
character?
I need to watch the show.
The girl?
Misa. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't remember anybody's name besides Light and L.
The girl. The one girl in the
Yeah, the one girl. The blonde.
The one girl. Yes, the one girl there. So I was like, I need to be familiar with it. So I'm watching that. Actually, I was watching Clone Wars too.
Oh, nice.
Like the animated series too. Yeah, because I hadn't like watched it when it first came out, and I really like Star Wars. What else am I watching?
Are you watching
Naruto
Acolyte?
Shippuden? No, not yet. I'm watching Naruto also.
Always.
First time or rewatching?
So first time I finished like the first Naruto. I didn't watch it when it came out.
You never saw Shippuden?
No, I'm watching it now.
Where are you at?
Well, because I've been watching.
It's okay. It's just general. I was just curious because that's.
I'm kind of still at the beginning. So like they ended up taking Gaara, and they're taking like his. Oh my God, I forgot.
The One Tails?
The demon that he has. The One Tail is the One Tail. They're taking the One Tail. Might Guy and his team just showed up, and they were having a fight, and like there's all these like little like fights now happening as they're trying to get to him in time.
I'm currently rewatching it with my son, and we're already like we're almost like where we are. It's only subbed, so this is the first time that he's watched any anime subbed, because they apparently never dubbed this part of.
There's like a big
like
chunk
post
at
battle
the end.
and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
like fourth Great War, like all that stuff.
Right now we're in the last battle, with the last person that Naruto fights.
Yeah.
Besides Sasuke, because he's gonna fight Sasuke forever and ever.
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think no matter what I watch, that's always gonna be my favorite. Like,
Yeah.
I really like it. I love the story.
It's
I
my
like
favorite.
Naruto's character a lot. Sasuke.
yeah.
You know what? I hate that I share the birthday with
Oh,
him.
you do? You really?
He's because I follow Crunchyroll on Instagram and it always tells you
Whose
like
birthdays?
characters' birthdays.
Really?
And he's July 23rd, and I was like,
Wow.
of course he would be.
I mean, just don't start acting moody and we're good. Like,
I'll be a little emo.
yeah.
Don't try to carry your siblings.
No,
That-
I think I'm good.
That's constantly my only thing that I never understood why people. Once I finished like all of Naruto, and I was just like, why do people like Sasuke so much? Like, screw that guy. Like, it never clicked for me.
I ask my friends, but my friends are female, so they find him
Oh, I
attractive,
mean-
and I'm
It's
like,
like
nah,
back
I
in the
don't,
day
I
when you're a
don't.
kid and you're watching, you're like, oh, Sasuke is so like he's a good looking guy, like he's really cool. he's like one of the cool
He's a
brooding
cool
kids.
guy.
And then you start growing up, and I'm like, Naruto is so much better. Like he's got personality, he's funny, he's sweet.
Yeah, you guys are talking about the
like
scene when freaking Naruto gets to Sasuke once Orochimaru's like worked with him, and he's like half naked because he has his little thing hanging up. Right? He's showing the show. I mean, I get it. It's just Sasuke, whatever.
Skinny shoulder.
Yeah.
Does he even live?
Right. But no, I mean, I mean, obviously, like we love watching whatever. Like it's funny because for me, I feel like I always end up watching the most random rom-coms and reality TV, and this is my input to the show every week. They're like, Carlos is like, "What did you watch this week?" I'm like, "Oh, Love at First Sight, and let's see, The Ultimatum, and what other like freaking." But in reality, I mean, I think the only thing that I watched last week that was kind of even worth you mentioning was there's this movie on Netflix. It's called Hitman. And it is.
I saw that too.
It's a rom-com, right? But it was interesting. I like the
Kind of, but yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, but I like the whole point of it. Like, it's a guy whose job is to be a fake hitman to entrap.
He's
people
undercover with the cops.
Yeah, he's undercover with the cops, and then he ends up just like falling for a person that's a suspect that's trying to hire him. And I don't know, like if you ever wanted to watch a movie that you didn't think you were going to be into, it was watchable, like enjoyable. I kind of like the little twists here and there, and this is an actor that we keep casting for Cyclops. Yeah, we keep casting him for Cyclops. Like we want him to be the next Cyclops.
So yeah.
And I don't know, it's worth the watch.
He's big enough right now that he could.
Yeah.
I think now that I think about it, the last show with actual people,
humans
that I watched was Sense8.
Oh, I love that show. I hate that they canceled it.
I hate that they canceled it, and I hate what they did with the second season because of all of that stuff. But
oh my god, it's amazing. I love it so much.
Good.
So,
and the concept of it.
So imagine pretty much there's 8 people from all over the world, and they somehow entangle themselves so they can jump into each other's bodies in a way and kind of like take over. Yeah. So one of them's in I forgot what African country.
There's like one in India, one in Africa,
Japanese,
one in Mexico.
German guy,
Korea,
American guy, So,
different backgrounds, ages, genders,
the Mexican actor,
experiences, yes, careers, but they're all linked as like one unit.
One's a DJ. They're all like very different. So then they can kind of borrow from each other's skills to like get out of different spots,
cool.
and then they can just like have whole conversations like internally. Dude, it's super cool
with each other, and they're also very like in tune with how each other's feeling. So like if we were all like Sense8 connected and I was feeling really sad or something, like all of you would suddenly start feeling wherever you are. Like if I'm bawling and I'm crying, like
we're all
you
crying.
suddenly start crying like for no reason, and you're like, what is going on?
Yeah, and people around them have no idea.
Yeah, and if I really need help or I'm just calling out, like I just need somebody, like Sylvia could just pop up next to me,
that's
not
so
like
cool,
I guess mentally or something. But now we can converse and like have a moment or something like that. So it's just a really cool
That's
show.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Force ghost that shows up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Really good cast too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you liked that, you
Yeah.
might like I think it was called Manifest. It was also on Netflix.
Oh
And it
yeah,
was like the plane.
I think
I
I've
saw
heard
like
of
I
that.
saw like one season of it.
Yeah, it reminds me of that with a mixture of like Lost almost. That's the best way to explain Manifest, I guess. It's like Lost
Yeah.
with Sense8 then, kind of.
And I kind of did enjoy Manifest in the beginning, but then it got canceled right too, and then I kind of quit. Was it that what
No,
happened?
and then I think Netflix picked it up and then did a couple more
Yeah.
seasons.
Oh, did it?
Has,
Oh.
yeah. It just gets very like Losty wise, as in like they're going
Yeah.
back and then forward, and then you lose the timeline. You don't know where you're at. I like the last seasons, but the first two I want to say seasons of that were pretty good.
Nice.
Kind of like the leftovers that Carlos was bringing up.
You guys watch way too much TV, man. That's
But
the
I
hard
watch
part, too.
I watch a ton of TV.
I sacrifice sleep to watch TV, so that's why like most of the time when people recommend stuff, I'm like, how important it is that I watch it, and then there goes my sleep. But you know, I'm always happy for suggestions, so anything you guys have, always bring them.
Sense8, definitely big one.
Sensei, I don't know.
Sensei
You're
is
still
a
getting
good
me on
one.
Mashal. I need to start that soon eventually.
Oh,
So-
Okay, Mashal. Okay, so this is your list. It's Mashal.
Sylvia, take notes too,
And
because
it's-
we're both.
Oh, yeah,
I'm not alone. Yeah.
Mhm.
You can send out the minutes after the episode.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's what I do at work all the time too. I'm just typing. That's part of what I do. I'm great at it. I promise.
Yeah.
Next time you guys are gonna go in the Discord and it's Uber Moment and I just watching all of these new shows, just sharing screen, just going through everything.
Yep. Done, and done.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we could probably do watch-alongs on Discord too, couldn't we?
Yeah,
you
we
can.
should.
I've done that with some of my friends.
Yeah.
Takes
Let's
some,
do it.
That takes some good synchronization, man. So you can set that up. Just let me know when I gotta be, where I gotta be, and I'll be there. But yeah, I mean,
Just put your
guys.
job in, you'll be fine.
Yeah, that's the hard part, right?
It's not like you have a
But,
baby coming or anything.
That's another difficult part coming up
Oh,
too. So
happy Father's Day! There you go.
thank you.
Oh yeah, happy first Father's Day.
It only took a long recording, a couple interruptions, and very minimal One Punch Man talk to get us to this point. But thank
Yeah.
you, Sylvia.
Yeah,
A
of
cyborg
course.
doctor.
Cyborg Doctor.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's my
There you go.
happy Father's Day.
Father's Day, everybody. Welcome to Senor Nerd
There you
Podcast. And
go.
by the way, happy Father's Day.
There you go. That'll be the title or the thumbnail. Better yet, just Happy Father's Day. And that's
Perfect.
But yeah, any closing thoughts? Like this was fun. I was very very happy to have you, Michelle. And then in general, I think the more back and forth that we add to this, it's always a great conversation. So I'm excited to see if we add Carlos back in here one of these days and see how crazy
One of these
that
days, not next time.
again, One Punch.
No, he will not. Every
You're
time.
done. I mean, that's okay though. That's okay.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
The amount of times these boxes have changed throughout this whole podcast, I feel like I've gone cross-eyed so many times.
Yeah, but you know what? At the end of the day, we played a little musical chairs or musical
Little
spots,
tango.
and yeah, it's all good.
Musical
but,
boxes.
yeah,
It's to keep people on
yeah.
the
see?
At least the people watching, because the people that listen,
At least the
people
people
that
watching.
listen are gonna have no idea what we're talking about right
Like,
now.
what is this
Okay,
gibberish?
well, if you are listening, I started on the top right, and now I'm on the top
Yeah.
left.
Wait,
See,
you have
guys-
them on top of each other? Mine are all like next to each other.
Oh no, mine
Oh
are like
yeah,
on top
yeah.
of each
I
other,
have two
like the
boxes
floor
and two
is
boxes.
square.
Yeah,
Oh,
square.
mine's like
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, that makes sense.
Oh.
Okay, we're not that special, Raul. So you made me feel bad, and I'm leaving though. Thank you guys all for joining. Happy to have everyone again. Follow, like, subscribe, and join us next time. We don't even know what we're talking about next week, but have any suggestions? Definitely.
Oh yeah, what are we talking about? Yeah, we should do Mashal.
Not Mashal, okay?
No, let's do it. There's only like 2
Isn't it
seasons
only
anyway.
12 episodes? Just do Mash
Yo.
season 1. It's
Yeah.
only like
And I can't even
It's
complain because
hilarious.
I finished One Punch Man in like 2 days, like both seasons.
2
so,
seasons,
like,
yeah.
yeah, whatever. I still can't do it.
you can fly by through Mash
Yeah,
too.
there you go.
to be determined. We'll see. It'll be a surprise. All right, guys.
Okay.
Goodbye.